Hello, my name is Richard Porter, and 5 years ago, May of 2011, my wife passed away with a massive heart attack. We were at an antique show. She was an antique dealer for 40 years. We were married for 10 years and we were always together. We were working together. It was like we created a world around each other and the love that we had for each other. We declared honeymoon forever. Every quarter we would go on a honeymoon. We literally would go to Argentina, Australia, all over the world. Dealing in antiques, everything we touched turned to gold. We would buy a stack of plates for 7,000 and within 48 hours sell them for 37. It was like a fantasy world that you've heard of the story Cinderella. Well, you're meeting Cinderella now. So we had this lifestyle and we had a vacation planet. Every day we would wake up and we wouldn't get out of bed until we played three games like backgammon, dominoes, or rummy. That was the lifestyle we had. We were rehabbing houses. We were moving from the antique world to rehabbing houses. We rehabbed 6 houses in 9 years of marriage. She knew feng shui, interior design, and she knew how to take the dog of the neighborhood and bring it up to the princess quality. And we were having the time of our lives. So that was what was happening prior to all our money being embezzled by Bernie Madoff. After that happened, a shift took place in my wife's energy. A week before she passed away, she was out on the deck, and I was admiring her, saying, "This is great. You're slowing down, you're relaxing, and you're reading a book." And she turned to me and she said, "No, I'm depressed." And I had no receptors for what that meant. A week later, we're in Virginia at an antique show. And now this was in 2011. All discretionary money dried up. Nobody was spending anything, particularly on antiques. We sold a game table. That was all we sold that entire weekend. That was barely paying for the rent of the booth that we were being charged for. That year, we were on the road 265 days trying to keep our heads above water. And when we were at that show, I went out. It was Sunday morning. We were getting ready to break down and put all the inventory from the show into our van and go home. I was headed out. It was Sunday morning. We just got done having a group meeting with the entire group of antique dealers and the directors, explaining how things were going to unfold for the day. I went out to move my van. All of a sudden, I heard someone yelling at me, "Hey, your wife is down." Ran over there, looked down, and she had a massive heart attack in front of all her friends. Because she was in that industry for 40 years, and a majority of her friends that were in that industry were right there at that show. And it's a fine group of people that are brought together like that. And that was the end of her life. Um, yeah, that was the end of her life. That was the beginning of life for me as a single person, having to deal with the estate, having to deal with so many properties going into short sale, and having to deal with what it was to live a new life and discover myself anew again. So today, I've noticed over the last 5 years how my trust factor with people has been so weakened. Discernment on when to trust people and when not to trust people has been my biggest lesson in these last 5 years. That's what's going on for me today. I'm rebuilding my life financially. I'm literally buying and selling real estate and learning to live.